For decades, fans have debated the true location of Gilligan's Island. Though the show never confirms an exact spot, every episode drops subtle clues: ocean currents, references to radio transmissions, unannounced visitors, volcanic hints, and military interference. By piecing these details together, we can form a solid theory. We know the SS Minnow embarked from Honolulu on what was supposed to be a brief 3-hour cruise, only to vanish in a sudden storm that drastically changed its course. This scenario points to a remote atoll far off typical shipping lanes in the Pacific. The island's environment provides vital clues. It appears lush and tropical, packed with tall palms, bananas, coconuts, and bamboo, suggesting a subtropical or equatorial zone. The climate remains steadily warm, with no real seasonal shifts aside from occasional storms, implying a region near the equator. In several episodes, the professor identifies steam vents, indicating a geologically active area tied to volcanic chains, which are common throughout the Pacific. In Quick Before It Sinks, he warns the island is subsiding, hinting it might be perched atop a coral atoll or low-lying seamount, both prone to gradual sinking over long periods. We also see odd animal life. Monkeys appear, despite being absent on most Pacific isles, and sugarcane or oranges occasionally pop up, suggesting earlier human contact or seeds drifting in. The castaways survive thanks to a steady freshwater source, likely from rainfall or an underground lens typical in coral atolls. These details back up a setting in the Central Pacific, particularly among scattered, lesser-known island chains like the Line or Phoenix Islands. A key question is how the SS Minnow got so far off course. Traveling at around 10 to 15 knots, it might have covered only 30-50 miles from Oahu under normal conditions, but violent winds and shifting currents can drag a small vessel hundreds of miles. The North Equatorial Current sweeps westward from Hawaii, carrying anything from driftwood to entire boats. This aligns with the show's many failed escape attempts. In Goodbye Island, their homemade boat dissolves, leaving them back on shore. In The Pigeon, a trained bird cannot find its way home. Any flotsam from Hawaii that occasionally arrives underscores that they lie along a debris path. Multiple episodes also hint at high-level U.S. activity nearby. In X Marks the Spot, a military rocket nearly obliterates the island, treating it as an uninhabited test zone. New Neighbor Sam involves a NASA capsule splashdown, and The Big Gold Strike sees a crate from Hawaii washing ashore, presumably after drifting for miles. The presence of such gear implies they're near an established missile range or proving ground used by American forces during the Cold War. If the island is inside or near a restricted zone, official rescue might be complicated by secrecy or the assumption that no one inhabits those coordinates. Why then no successful rescue? They can sometimes pick up Hawaiian radio transmissions, so they seem to be within 1,000 miles of a powerful transmitter. Yet their own signals either fail to reach rescue teams or are overlooked, perhaps lost among military chatter or overshadowed by test operations. In The Sweepstakes, Gilligan hears he's won a cash prize via radio, proving they're not impossibly far from civilization. Nevertheless, repeated rescue attempts fail. Storms wreck rafts or hamper visitors. Outsiders who land often leave before they can deliver a plea for help. In The Producer, a Hollywood mogul arrives but becomes too wrapped up in filming to organize a rescue. In Little Island Big Gun, criminals show up looking for a hideout, not to save anyone. These run-ins point to a hidden corner of the Pacific occasionally crossed by lost travelers, roving explorers, or planes forced off course. In Gilligan Meets Jungle Boy, a feral child, a young Kurt Russell, is found, suggesting survivors from previous wrecks. Slave Girl depicts a Polynesian princess drifting ashore by canoe, so the island isn't impossibly distant from other settlements, only far enough that passing craft seldom appear. Gilligan's mother-in-law even features headhunters, adding to the notion that pockets of indigenous groups might still roam these waters. The castaways remain trapped because each visitor either ignores their plight, can't help, or leaves too quickly. So, which real island group best matches these repeated hints? Some think the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, including Midway or Kure, but these lack dense jungle and clear volcanic features. They're also well documented due to their strategic importance in World War II, so an entire castaway presence would be discovered quickly. The Line Islands, Palmyra, Jarvis, Kingman Reef, and Phoenix Islands in Kiribati are far more isolated, visited only sporadically by naval ships, researchers, or adventurers. Palmyra Atoll, for instance, boasts thick jungles, formidable reefs, and a spooky history of shipwrecks. The Phoenix Islands, once used by the U.S. military, are known for their harsh conditions and extreme remoteness. Among these, Gardner Island, Nikumaroro, stands out. About 1,000 miles south of Hawaii, in the path of the North Equatorial Current, it features dense vegetation, limited fresh water, and perilous reefs. It's central to theories about Amelia Earhart's disappearance, as evidence suggests she might have ended up there undetected. The island's relative inaccessibility mirrors Gilligan's Island episodes, where rescue is always just out of reach. The idea that the castaways occasionally encounter lost Japanese soldiers also connects to the region's World War II legacy. Other episodes emphasize government indifference or confusion. X marks the spot, sees the U.S. military nearly bombing them by mistake. A classified testing ground would explain such oversights and the lack of a concerted rescue. With the 1960s Cold War context, numerous nuclear and missile tests occurred across the Pacific Proving Grounds, which spanned vast oceanic areas that seldom saw civilian traffic. Meanwhile, swirling currents and complex reefs would doom any homemade escape craft. The show repeatedly references broadcasting range from Hawaii or the mainland, proof they aren't on the far side of the globe, but also depicts the island as enveloped by near-impossible navigational obstacles. Outsiders like Dr. Boris Balankoff, the friendly physician, whisk the castaways away, only to dump them back where they started, perpetuating the comedic cycle. Each attempt, from building rafts to delivering messages by pigeon or balloon, somehow fails. This comedic premise underscores the notion of being close enough to civilization for radio signals, yet still too far to be noticed by regular shipping. In sum, the castaways' predicament lines up with the real-world challenges of tiny Pacific atolls: punishing currents, occasional passers-by, distant radio contact, and inattention from government or military officials preoccupied with tests. When weighed against actual island chains, the Phoenix Islands, particularly Nikumaroro, offer the best match. Thick jungle, possible volcanic underpinnings, a sinking atoll foundation, remote military activity, and a well-documented history of mysterious disappearances all align with Gilligan's Island lore. With so many parallels, it's no wonder fans keep searching for a real map reference. If you ever find yourself on a 3-hour tour from Hawaii, be warned. Storms, currents, and restricted waters might send you drifting into an uncharted paradise. Now that we've narrowed down the most likely location, we invite you to share your favorite episode or theory, and be sure to hit like and subscribe for more voyages into TV's unsolved mysteries. Enjoy your own 3-hour tour.